Actor Hugh Jackman may have skin cancer again. Now he's urging fans to protect themselves in the sun. You may remember that he has been treated for basal cell carcinoma several times, including 2013, when he had a cancerous growth removed from his nose. Well, in a new video on Instagram, Hugh Jackman said his skin was damaged 25 years ago. It's just coming out now. Basal cell carcinoma, one of the most common cancers in the United States, and treatment can be highly effective, of course, if detected early. So we want to talk about it. We have our 9 News medical expert, Dr. Payal Kohli, with us to talk about it. And of course, Kathy Sabine, you know all too well about this because this is an experience you just went through recently. So if you want to recap or maybe compare notes a bit with what Hugh Jackman had to talk about today.
I'm familiar with the Hugh Jackman story. My surgeon may or may not have been involved in that, but when I was going through my diagnosis and treatment, he said, look how amazing Hugh Jackman looks. He has the same basal cell carcinoma on the same side of your nose. Look how amazing he looks. But this is also something I still have to go every 3 months and get my skin checked, as I'm sure Hugh Jackman is doing the same thing. There was a second skin cancer found at the same time during the surgery, a squamous cell. So and I said, I thought I did everything right. He said, this is from 20 to 25 years ago.
Just like Hugh Jackman said.
Yes.
So talk about it. What are we seeing? Are we seeing more of this because it's being diagnosed more often? Are we just talking about it more, or is it happening more?
I would say a little bit of all of those things, actually. So if you think about our skin, it's our biggest organ. And skin cancer is actually America's most common cancer. Several-fold more than all the other cancers combined. Because of our skin, it can get damaged so easily. And Kathy, you mentioned squamous cell cancer. So we have different skin cell types. And squamous cells are the top layer of cells, basically. And those are sun-sensitive cancers. Then there's basal cell, which are the deeper layers. That's what Hugh Jackman has, is a basal cell carcinoma. And then, of course, there's melanoma, which are the pigment cells in the skin. Those are the ones that give your skin the color. And that is the most aggressive of the 3 types of cancers. But all 3 of them can have bad consequences if not treated timely fashion.
Well, we were talking as well, you know, about Hugh's diagnosis and mine. When I went in, you could barely see it. And what belies what's underneath, what lies beneath, it's like an iceberg or roots of a tree. You don't know what's underneath that. So if you think you don't need to worry about that and you can use the topical treatments, it will keep coming back and it may be much more extensive underneath than you can see, correct?
That's absolutely right. Yeah, so basal cell cancer will start out just as a tiny little spot. And it could look like a very symmetric mole. A lot of those things we talk about, asymmetry, color, size, those are melanoma features. With a basal cell, it could be very symmetric. It could be round, and I'll be curious to hear what Kathy's look like, but it could be a little dot. But as Kathy says, underneath, there's microscopic cells that are spreading everywhere. And if you don't completely resect that, it's going to come back, and when it comes back with a vengeance. So it comes back more aggressively, and then, you know, it can obviously invade and destroy tissue and cause complications in that fashion.
My plastic surgeon, Dr. Archibald, mentioned to me that instead of doing numerous plastic surgeons a week, and Kim met him as well, he is doing 30 skin cancer surgeries a week now. He says that skin cancer in Colorado is an epidemic. And people are just, they're not talking about it, they're not thinking about it as part of their regular checkup, right? One
of the highest per capita rates of skin cancer here in Colorado. 1, because we love our outdoors.
Yeah.
And 2, because that Colorado sunshine.
Right, it feels so good.
It does feel good, but we're closer to it. So those UVA, UVB lights that are damaging to our skin, we're actually much more exposed to. So
Will it always manifest in the area that's exposed? Like mostly it's our faces and our arms probably that see more sun than anything else. That's more likely. It shows where the sun's been.
So sun exposure areas are the highest risk, but there are plenty of cancers out there that'll grow in between, you know, your fingers or your toes. They'll grow underneath your fingernails, on your palms, in your armpits.
On your scalp.
On your scalp, and even in your genitalia. So it's really important when you do have those skin checks and those exams, and if you're doing it for a spouse or a family member, a loved one, you really got to look in between the finger folds and everything, and it doesn't just even have to be a fair-skinned person.
That's what I was going to say. I have friends that tan. Like they said, I just never ever burned in my whole life, and they've had skin cancer.
Yeah.
So we all say that.
Well, you were mentioning in your family.
Yeah, and tanning is a sign of injury. So the fact that you're tanning means you're injuring the skin. But I was telling Kathy just a few minutes ago that my mom, and I'm Indian by descent, you know, in India they don't wear sun protection because we think we have natural melanin that's going to protect us. We're darker skinned. But here in Colorado, put an Indian here in Colorado, my mom, my aunt, people get basal cell carcinoma in exposed areas.
So sunscreen with a big number, And clothing, but clothing that also has SPF. Some clothing doesn't protect you much at all, right?
Yeah.
Good speaking, Mr. Golfer Boy.
It's true.
It's
But,
important,
yeah,
though.
you pay attention.
Well, would you
Hats.
agree? One of my dermatologists, and tell me if you agree with this line of thinking, they said 50 SPF is really the maximum. Beyond that is advertising, and you need zinc.
Yes.
Would you agree?
So the SPF number tells you kind of how many minutes before your skin will get damaged as compared to nothing at all. So for our baseline skin is SPF 0, and SPF 30 will be 30-fold as much time as we would have damage to the baseline skin. But Kathy's right that there's sort of an inflection point. Really, 30 to 50 is where most people recommend, even a 30. But the misnomer is that people think that they put on SPF 50 or 70 and they can just stay out there.
Yep,
Right.
and never reapply.
That's right. And that's what I think is a dangerous thing to do. So if you feel better putting on 70, go for it.
Yep.
But don't let it lead you into that false kind of misconception that you can stay out there without replenishing it.
And I think
Doc-
also, I think it's so much more important now to talk to people now who, you know, as far as our teenage years have come
Yep.
and gone,
Yeah.
is you got to get that message to your 6, 8, 10, 12,
You
15-year-old.
do.
Make it a habit for their lives.
Well, and I wanted to ask Dr. Kohli, to your point, Tom, I've heard stories of teenagers getting melanoma.
Yes.
And it's not as rare as a parent would think.
No, and because they're spending a lot of time outdoors, they're playing sports and what have you. We're also seeing vitamin D supplementation can have something to do with the risk of melanoma as well. So it's not just for cancer protection, also for those wrinkles and for looking good.
Right.
We want to keep our
Plead to their vanity, the teenage girls.
Whatever it
anyways.
takes. Well, Kathy, thanks again for sharing your
Absolutely.
story. It's been
Thank
important for a
you.
lot of people. And Dr. Kohli, it's always good to see you, especially on cases like this where you can help people sort out their path going forward.
Yeah.